From now on, I will create a video every Friday, at least one a week, and maybe more surprises in between. So, subscribe to my channel if you like that, and I wish you much fun with this one. Hey there, beautiful. How are you doing? Do you sometimes feel, or maybe more often than sometimes, feel overwhelmed? Feel that it's all too much, that you can't take any more on your plate, and you really have the feeling that you want to give up? That's called feeling overwhelmed. And there is something you can do about it. In this video, I will tell you what you can do about it, why you are feeling overwhelmed, and the solution to it, because you can do it. You can do something about it. And I'm more than happy to help you dealing with overwhelm. You know, First of all, I want to share that I know, like nobody else, what it is to feel overwhelmed, because I experienced that so much in my own life. It was all too much. I felt like crying. I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. I felt so burned out. I was so tired. I felt often felt like I was gonna crash. Do you recognize the feeling? Can you relate to that? I can understand what it feels like because I have been there and I've done that. And it's an overwhelming feeling. And it's like it's something from outside of you that is taking over. It really feels like that. It feels like you lost all power and you cannot handle it. You cannot deal with it. How to cope with that one? It feels like it's more powerful than you are, but in reality, it isn't. In reality, you are stronger than you think. But in the moment that you experience that overwhelming feeling of burnout, of being so tired, of feeling so bad and sad and ah, remembering that, I can feel these awful feelings again from the overwhelm. I'm so happy I learned that I am the manager of my life. And you can learn the same. But you need to do something about it. And first of all, you need to understand what it is and why you are feeling overwhelmed. Because if you don't understand that one, you know, if you don't have that insight, that the clarity about that, then it will always be more powerful than you are. So, the first step to dealing with stuff like this is understanding where it's coming from, why it is happening in your life, and that it's not happening to you, but that you can do something about it. And I'm more than happy to share what you can do. But first, let's get into why you are so overwhelmed, okay? Overwhelm almost always occurs when you are dealing with changes in your life, or you are learning new habits, or you are in a new job, or you are working with the success principles, or you are changing old habits, or you're working with the law of attraction and you have a new program that you are learning, or you started a new study, or you are in a new relationship, or you just moved house, so you are in an unfamiliar place where you don't know the people. Any big changes in your life can cause a feeling of overwhelm. And another word for overwhelm is that it's getting all too much. It feels like burnout. It's not a burnout because burnout is chronic and overwhelm is something that's, well, most of the time it's temporary. All right. So, and you can easily handle it if you know what to do. Okay. So, again, in case of big changes in your life, then this happens to a lot of people. Changing old habits, changing places, changes in the family, changes in the relationships, changes in a project, or you started your own business or whatever. It doesn't matter. Change is the key here. And then it often happens, and not immediately. It happens after a few days, for some, even after a few weeks. And I have experienced all of that. I went through all of that. So please keep watching because we can do something about it. But first, let's dig a little deeper in the why, um, because that will give you an aha moment. All right. So, so change can, not for everyone, but it can trigger that overwhelming feeling. Okay. So, and why is that? Because when you change, you have to develop new neural pathways. Okay. So you have to learn new habits, you have to change the way you think, and that feels uncomfortable for a lot of people. Maybe in the beginning, you think you can do it because you really want it. You really want that new job, or you really wanted to go for that new relationship, or your new business, or whatever new thing you started that in the short or the long run caused you to feel overwhelmed. So it depends on the individual. It can take days, it can take weeks, but at, at a certain moment, you are starting to feel resistance. Okay? And it starts with a little bit of stress, and you are a bit anxious, you are running around, you are thinking, oh my god, how am I gonna do this, because I don't we are so busy nowadays. Okay, I'm busy too. I have a lot of things in my life that I do. I don't only create English videos, I create Dutch videos too, as you can see on my channel. I have a website, I have a newsletter, I have 2 groups each week, I have clients, and a lot. And in the period in my life when I couldn't handle these changes and things, I thought it was all too much. And I thought I didn't have the space in my head to do this and no time. But I learned that these things are an illusion. Are you curious why that is so? Keep watching. So you have the illusion in your mind that you haven't got any space in general, that you are too busy, too stressed out, and then comes the new habits you have to learn, and then it's getting too much. Then the load is too big. So, what happens then is that then usually at that moment the overwhelm starts and you feel powerless. Okay. And one of the big reasons for that is because a lot of people think that life happens to them. which is not true because the source of everything in your life starts from within. You are that part of that source energy, that divine energy. Call it God, call it the universe, call it source, call it whatever, the fields, the I give it a name. Your higher self, your inner being, the collective consciousness. It doesn't matter. That source, that energy that comes from that, and I usually call it source or universe, all right, that is within. It's not something outside of you. And what happens when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel you don't have space in your life, when you think everything happens to you, you lost the connection with it. All right? That's one biggie because you give away the power. You think everything comes from the outside, from external conditions. Okay? And another one, and that's one of the favorite topics I will talk about much more in my videos, and that is the ego. Your ego. What is the ego? The ego is that uh, part in you that is helping you to survive. It comes from the times that we were living in caves and hunting, and we really had to fight and flight, and we had to survive. And in those days, the ego was a very good thing because you need to survive if you have a lot of enemies. Okay, if there's a wild animal, a lion or whatever coming to your way, and you have to do something, and so the ego makes you help so you can run away very fast. Okay, and or when an enemy from another tribe, let's say from another tribe, comes and wants to steal your food, or wants to attack you, also a possibility. In those days that happened a lot, and then you had to fight or run away. And the ego causes you to feel stressed out because that stress, that temporary state, like it should be, that helps you to do the impossible. Okay, and it's a temporary state. It used to be, but what happens is that the ego became the manager of many people's lives. Okay, so nowadays in modern times, we are stressed out almost all the time, which is a biggie also in feeling overwhelmed because um, in the way you deal with stress, in the way you can handle stress, that determines how big the chances are that you will become overwhelmed, that you're feeling overwhelmed. So the ego doesn't like change because the ego nowadays, that manager ego, that takes its training when you are a young kid. Okay, let's say from age 0 years old, from the time you were a baby till about 5 to 7 years old. That's that first year, those first years in your life. That's a very important time where you learn from all the adults around you, the important adults, the important people around you, and the ego learned how to survive in those circumstances because that's what the ego is all about, surviving. Yeah? It wants to keep you alive, which is a good thing, but well, okay, he has become the manager. All right, so it was programmed in these first 5 to 7 years of your life. And after that, the ego decided, okay, now I know enough. So I continue running my program. And everything that is different from the program, like big changes in your life, is a big danger for the ego. It causes the ego to think it's gonna die. All right? So then the ego gives you that feeling you cannot deal with it, you cannot handle it. You feel overwhelmed. That is what happens. That is a survival tactic. Okay? It has to do with survival because the ego doesn't want to build new neural pathways that you need if you want change in your life, like being successful in whatever you want to be successful in. So, the ego has become a little bit of the enemy in that case. You shouldn't handle it as an enemy because the ego is not an enemy, okay? A lot of people say you have to fight the ego. No, don't do that because you also you need the ego, all right? In some cases you need it in cases of real danger, for example. But we need to talk the ego out of thinking that it needs to um, interfere with everything that we do. All right. So, two things: the connection with your true source, that everything comes from within. Nothing happens to you. All comes from inside out. Your real power is inside, and you don't have to depend on external circumstances and the nasty ego that is terrified of change, really terrified. It sees it as a big threat, okay? A big threat in your life. And even the small changes, and the illusion that you don't have time and space in your life, especially that is a dis-ease of the modern times. And I've been there. I've done that. I was an editor for television. I made long days. I wanted to do all other things because I was already busy with the law of attraction, personal development, learning about human psychology, all that stuff. And then I had to do this course and that thing and that thing and that exercise and practicing this and that and that and that. And all people around me were asking me to help them. So I often felt overwhelmed because I thought there was no space in my life. I had no time. It was a nightmare until the moment I realized it was an illusion. And it is. I can assure you it is. Because time is flexible. You create time. You decide what you do with your time, okay? Even when you're busy. And above all, you decide how you want to feel about busy circumstances. Because yes, we do have busy lives, but how do you handle them? Okay? So that is an important one. So, what does the ego do? It's a very nasty, tricky thing what it does. So, I explained about the ego, how it works, and why you have an ego, and sometimes it's your friend. But what the ego does do in case of change, if you learn new habits, start new projects, all changes, it's interfering. And then it's telling you, now, wait, do it tomorrow. I'm tired now. I'm too busy. I'm not in the mood. I have a headache. The ego can also cause you to have a headache because it is working in your body and it's really interfering with your glands, with your hormones, with everything inside you, all the chemistry in your brain, etc. And it feels so real. And then all of the sudden, all those new changes don't feel so good anymore. And a lot of spiritual people then think it is their intuition speaking, that their intuition is giving them those bad, horrible feelings. No, darling, it's not your intuition because your intuition will never cause you to feel so bad. The intuition, if it's warning you for something, if you feel that something is not right, it's always a gentle sign. It will never make you feel overwhelmed. It will never give you bad feelings. It is a gentle push. You get a gentle feeling like something is wrong. But the ego, on the contrary, will give you that real bad feeling. And a lot of people, especially when you don't have much experience in your spiritual growth, when you're at the beginning, when you're just awakening, you think it's your intuition speaking, and then you quit. You stop it. Like, for example, when you started a new project, a new business, or a new meditation practice, or whatever it is, writing a new book, or it can be anything, you know? And then most of the people quit because the overwhelm is too much. And when they quit, it feels so nice because the ego is getting what it wants. And then it starts to produce good feeling hormones. Okay, so you think you did right. You think that's the intuition again. That's my higher self giving me the right vibrations. No, darling, it's keeping you stuck where you are. So now I talked a lot about that feeling of overwhelm, and I think it's about time to beat it. What do you think? Because there is a way, and it's very simple. I have an exercise for you, and I'm happy to share that. And it's an exercise that really helped me to get over the overwhelm. But one thing you must promise me, you must be disciplined. Every time that feeling of overwhelm is coming over you, you feel it coming, you feel tired, you feel like crying, you feel bad, and etc., etc., you have to do the exercise. And that is a little bit of change too. And your ego will not like it in the beginning and will tell you, no, you wait, you can do that in an hour or two, or do it tomorrow. No, you have to do it immediately when you feel the overwhelm. Will you promise me that? Okay, then I will share it now. Step one, you feel the overwhelm coming. You know the signals. You get tired, it gets too much, you get a bit stressed, you get a bit irritated, etc. It's all different for everyone. And you know your signals, okay? So you feel that coming. You find a quiet place as soon as possible, even when you have to go to the toilet. All right? Go to the toilet if you are at your job. You can do that. You can do it there. And what you do then is say stop to yourself. And if it's possible, say it out loud. If it's not possible, for example, if you are at your job or whatever, in a public place, or okay, you say it in silence. Stop. Step number one. Ready for step two? Step two. Sit down. Close your eyes. Take a few slow and deep breaths. Okay? Breathing in, hold it, breathing out. All right? Turn inside. Get silence on the inside. All right? You can do that. And then you are going to observe what the overwhelm is causing in your body, in your mind, what it does with your thoughts. And you do that like you are observing somebody else, like it's something outside of you. Okay, so don't observe it in the emotional way like it's from you, but observe it as an outsider, like you are watching a movie. Okay, and really take time to do this. See what it's doing. Do you feel any part in your body that is getting tensed or tingling or weak or tight? Or what is it doing? Are you itchy somewhere? Do you feel pain? Stuff like that. And what does it do with your thoughts? Are your thoughts getting crazy? Do you get a lot of negative thinking? What is happening there? And important, don't judge it. Simply observe, register what is happening there. Okay? Without any judgment, because you don't need to do that. Why would you? It would only cause more overwhelm. Okay, and we don't want that. We simply want to see what the overwhelm is doing inside us and in our mind, in our emotions. Do you feel sad, angry, anxious, stressed out, whatever, without jumping to conclusions? Okay? Step 3. After observing what the overwhelm is causing inside and outside of you and in your mind, in your body, everywhere, your thoughts, and you've done that, you focus back on your breath. Okay? And you start breathing in and out again, very slowly, very deep as you can. And you breathe in, you do it through your nose and make it a belly breath if you can. Okay? Hold it as long as you can, but don't do it for too long because that would stress you out as well. As long as it feels comfortable. For one person that is 2 seconds, for the other it's 5 or 10 or whatever. Do it in your own pace, all right? And when you breathe out, you do it through your mouth, okay? And really focus on the breath. And don't judge yourself. You will always do it right, okay? You cannot go wrong here. Just simply practice it, okay? The first time, maybe it's a little difficult, but you will get used to it. 10 deep breaths. Ready for step number 4? And now comes step number 4. It's my favorite, okay? But you have to get used to it because it's a little bit strange. You're not used to it. I don't think so. Okay, let's say your dominant hand, the hand you write with, is your right hand, all right? So you close your right nostril like this. And you start breathing through your left. If your dominant hand is your left hand, of course, you close your left nostril and start breathing through your right nostril. Okay? So, breathing through one nostril. You do this for 5 minutes. And focus on the breath. Whenever you are losing the focus, when you are getting overwhelmed by thoughts, okay, focus back on your breath. Remember that. Whatever happens, focus on the breath. Focus on the air getting in. Hold it again, breathing out through one nostril. See the change in yourself, how it's different than breathing through 2 nostrils like you're used to, all right? So, dominant hand right, close right nostril, breathe through your left. Dominant hand left, close your left nostril, breathe to the right. 5 minutes. And now comes step number 5, the final step. After 5 minutes, you start breathing through 2 nostrils again like you're used to. And you take long and deep breaths very slowly like you did before. You do that for 5 minutes too. And what helps me is to put my hands on my heart, keep my eyes closed, and smile a little. Like this. Okay? Just a little smile. Doesn't have to be a big one. Just do this and keep focusing on your breath. It will be easier in this stage. And that's your final step. After doing that, I am pretty sure the feelings of overwhelm are much less and you will feel so much better. But you have to practice this exercise every time you feel the overwhelm coming up. All right. So that requires a little bit of discipline. So ignore the voice in your head that tells you to do it at a later time or that you're not in the mood. Just do it because this works. It sounds maybe too simple, but remember that the great exercises and practices are simple because our universe is not complicated either. All right. So I wish you good luck with the exercise and I really hope it will work for you. I know you can do this. I've been there. I've been in a victim of overwhelm and now I manage it. Okay. So feeling overwhelmed is not something happening to you, even though it feels like it. It feels like it comes from the outside. Remember, the source of all life power is within you. It's inside. So you can handle this. You can overcome this. You can do so much more, and I believe in you. I hope you liked this video. If you did, will you also give your thumbs up? Please, thank you. I love that. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so because I create weekly videos about personal development, spiritual growth, energy healing, meditations every now and then, sound healings every now and then. So please subscribe and don't forget to click at that alarm bell. Where is it? Somewhere there, I guess. Tap it, click it. So YouTube will give you a notification whenever I create a new video. Every Friday, a new video, but a lot of times I will jump in and create a beautiful video in between. That's the way I am. Whenever I'm in the mood, I do that. My darling, I wish you a wonderful week. I see you next Friday for the next one. I hope this video helped you. Please leave a comment if you have any questions or want to share something with me. I will personally respond to it. You can count on me. I am there for you. And I give you blessings. I wish you a lot and a lot of positive vibes and good feelings about yourself. I sent you beautiful, pure love and light. And I sent you pure source energy right now. Can you feel it? Hey, darling, big hug. Love you. Until next time.